Alright, so I had a lot of issues trying to figure out how to how to come back to C++ after a very long time. So I'll just re-implement this clock class right now. So if you were trying to build a class in C++, what you would do is you would say class, and then the name of the class, in this case is clock, and then private and public, right? Public, private, because we have to separate the public and private member functions and variables. Since it's a clock, we need hours, minutes, and seconds, so all integers. Int hours, what am I doing? Hours, int minutes, and int seconds. So, and then now we're going to build the constructors. We're going to have a default constructor, clock, like that. That takes nothing because it's our default constructor. What am I doing? Like that. And then we're going to have a not so default constructor that will take in formal parameters, and we'll call it clock, and we'll pass in hours, minutes, and seconds. Like that. So, and then let's instantiate the class, right? So we're gonna say clock is my clock, and if we were to, so the problem that I had when trying to relearn this again, or just trying to get myself get my brain to adjust to writing C++ again, I would instantiate my class like this, and this is simply not allowed. And after asking ChatGPT, it told me that that was the case. This is how you use the default constructor. So you instantiate it like this, and then if you run, it should work. Okay, so the reason this is not working, I have too much sugar in my coffee, is because of this line here. Let me run this again. System files not okay. What's going on? I'm confused. Okay, so the reason that this may not be working is because of our private member variables. I think ChatGPT told me about that right here. It says the reason your code doesn't work is because your parameterized constructor takes two parameters, int hours and mins, but you're trying to initialize hours, mins, and seconds member variables without assigning the constructor parameter to the class variable. Also, the constructor signature should initialize the private member using passed-in parameters. So let me just do this. I am so confused. This is confusing me. So I'm asking it now, how would I use a or how would I have a default constructor alongside a parameterized constructor? And then it gives me this example. So now I'm trying to ask myself, okay, let's say we didn't have private variables such as hours, mins, and sex. How would I have the default constructor? Or does it have to be like that? Let me just do this. Okay. Well, how do I do it? How is 0? Like that. Means 0 and 6 0 like that, right? Oh no, like that. Okay. I think that's it. There we go. There. Okay. Okay. I get it now. So I guess what this program is forcing us to do is, if you have a constructor and you have private member variables, you need to somewhat give values to the private member variables, even if you're not passing anything. Let me think. What if I didn't wanna? It says here that default values for hours, minutes, and seconds. Okay, so we gave it default values. What if I just wanted hours, minutes, and seconds to be empty? Okay, let's go back to the first example. What if I wanted the member variables to be empty, not be assigned to anything? Or is it not possible to have a construct that does nothing? Yes, it is possible to have a constructor that does nothing, and it is also possible to leave the member variables uninitialized. In C++, when you don't explicitly initialize member variables, they are left with indeterminate values, whatever happens to be in memory at that location. However, uninitialized variables can lead to undefined behavior, which is why it's often good practice to initialize them. How to make the constructor do nothing? To create a constructor that does nothing, it doesn't initialize the member variables, you simply define an empty constructor. In this case, your member variables will not be explicitly initialized by the constructor and will hold indeterminate values. This is not legal though, according to the things that I've been doing. For instance, like this. This is not legal, right? And it ran. But before it didn't work. It didn't work before. Or was I doing this? Oh, I think this is what I was doing. Oh, this is what I was doing. Okay, now I get it. Alright. It's supposed to be like this. Okay, so you can have a constructor that looks like this. But the funny thing is, let me see. It does work. So the funny thing is, when I had this constructor right here, for instance, I could do something like this. Like I could initialize it and pass in variables, and it would do nothing. But maybe because I'm passing in values, then I guess that's legal in C++. Let's name it new clock. Let's pass in 100, 1, 1, 1, 2, and 3, whatever. Doesn't matter. Let's run that. Okay, so yes, it says that you can't do that. Okay, hours, clock hours is uninitialized. Always initialize a member variable. Okay, so now I'm getting proper runtime errors. So so obviously I would do hours is equals to hours mince is equals to mince, and 6 is equals to 6, like that, and then it works. So that's my clock class, and if I wanted to have a print function, which will be a public member variable or member function or member method, I would do with a void print clock std cout. I would say the time is hours, mince, and 6 std end line, like that. And then let's just print out, let's just say the time is 20:22 with 31 seconds running. And let's print, how to print or how to use an object is that we're going to call the object's name dot the method name. So it'll be new clock dot print clock. There we go. Oh, let's see. All right. We have a problem. I think it's because, let's just do this. I think that has something to do with that. Yes, there we go. So I think I don't quite remember quite well why. I remember we were taught in some book that you should probably use different names for the variables here that you're passing here as compared to the actual private member variables that are in here. So it should look something like this. It's just the names shouldn't be the same. As you saw, it gave me like random memory addresses, but in this case it actually gives me a proper working program because I changed the variable names. So yeah, that's that. I just stopped this. So yeah, that was basically it. I was very confused as to how things were done in C++. I couldn't wrap my head around why I was getting errors, and C++ to me comes naturally, but whenever I do run back into it, I need to relearn a couple of things, and after about a week of practice, then it's all systems go, and I need to get back into it because I am planning on writing a library in C++. I've been planning on writing a library for a very long time, but I just never had the opportunity to do it. I actually did build the library before, but it's very much incomplete. And I'm thinking of converting it to a static library instead of a shared library, but I'll see how that goes, okay? I'll see how that goes. I also want to wrap my head around how we write these, what is it called? Parameter constructors, but in this way, where you use a semicolon and you just pass in these things here. I've learned this before, I just forgot how we actually use them again. I think it's a nice, neat way of doing things. But yeah, I'll relearn them. I need to make a lot of I want to make a lot of tutorials. Okay, so these would be your, like, you're initializing the variables. Okay, so basically, instead of doing it like this, I could have just, let me just see. Okay, so I could have just done something like this. Well, this could sit like that. Wait, let me just run. Oh wait, it won't work. Well, okay, it will, but not quite. So in this case, I could have just went like um, hours, which is my member variable, pass in hours, and mints will pass in the passed in argument or parameter, which is mints, and then 6 similarly 6 like that. So, and that should work. There we go. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, so that's a much cleaner way of doing things, I guess. How can you hate on C++? It's just it just it's very strict, and I love that because we all follow basically the same principles. Yeah, I'll end the video here. Cheers, guys.